You mentioned Bubba Wallace earlier while we were talking. Was it good to see him clinch his first playoff spot?
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, what a pressure packed situation, right? I'm like, my God, I approached our race at Daytona thinking it was a cutoff race like he was. And I did that for multiple reasons, but one of the largest reasons was to I mentally locked in. And because I looked back at the super speedway races that I had won, and one consistent theme that I had discovered in my mindset and what I was doing in the last portion of the race was that I was so locked in, it was almost at the subconscious level of making decisions and driving and that sort of thing. And so I was like, going into this Daytona race with the pressure we were under, with the playoff situation and the points needed, I said to myself, what if you could lock in from lap 1 like that to lap 100? What would happen? And so I worked really hard all week on, mentally getting myself to turn that switch on. And that meant before the race, I sort of put my phone away. I didn't speak to anyone at intros. I saw Bubba Wallace didn't give us an interview before the race. And I actually respected that because I was like, man, I did one, but that was the only thing I did within the hour of the race on Friday night. Otherwise, I sat alone and played moves in my head and kept my brain locked in with the thought of I'm driving a race car at a super speedway, making moves, and what do I need to do to be up front? And that's how I approached that race. And I feel like I was successful because of that. And when I look at what he accomplished on Saturday, to me, that was a driver that was locked in, that knew what was at stake, that knew what he had to do, and found a way to stay in that mental state the entire race and was able to, be rewarded for it. And so I think it was a really impressive drive in, the midst of the chaos that is super speedway racing. And, comparing the Xfinity Series to the Cup Series isn't exactly fair. It's a far deeper pool in the Cup Series. So what he did was far more impressive than what I did. But yeah, I think it was definitely, a testament to his ability at those tracks and probably an amazing relief afterwards to have made it in.
Yeah, I know there was some like controversy surrounding his Bubba Wallace's decision to forego interviews before and after the race. Do you think is that something that like does he owe it to the fans, owe it to the sport to speak before and after a race, or is it more that he already does a lot to promote the sport? It's not like it's not like he stays silent throughout the entire season. That just before and after the race, you kind of say, okay, that's fine to skip those interviews.
I think as long as it's not a trend, right? Like I think there's moments for sure. Absolutely. They have that right. Every competitor does. Especially before an event. I think afterwards that you more so owe it to the fans to explain what happened, right? Post event to me is far more important. Pre-event, I don't find it, I think if he needs that half hour to lock in, like I described, then by all means. Now, if you do that 38 weeks out of 38 weeks, that's probably not fair to fans. But if you pick and choose your spots on a high pressure situation he was entering on that night, I had no problem with it. I felt like, why not? That I have respect for the competitors and whatever they need to do to feel like they're in the best position to go out and perform. And everyone's different. And, for him, he needed that, and that's fine. And then, after the race to talk to the media, it's fine. That's great. He told us, hey, look, this is what was going, this is what happened. This is what I went through. And, this is how I did it. And I think that part is far more important than what you say beforehand. And giving them that entrance, that little bit before, because, all these sports are about your physical ability and your mental ability. Right. And like that is, unless you're a professional athlete, or have been one, you seldom know what it's like to know that your everything comes down to specific tiny moments that depend that you have put your body in the best position possible and your mind. And that is the special, the secret sauce in sports. That is the special X factor in great athletes. And it's something that I think, should be respected and should be applauded for however they get there, as long as it's, a positive thing.